Cove, I think the neighbor dogs are trying to talk to you. Now, these are some huge livestock guardians over here. Huge. As you can see, they have a little farm over there as well. And then this neighbor dog. Welcome back, everybody. We're adding another video to the Prepper Dog series. Haven't done one in a hot second, so I'm really excited to get this one out there. We're going to be talking about male versus female dogs for when shit hits the fan without rule of law, Tiawaki, civil unrest, just any collapse. Insert hashtag event here. That's what we're going to be talking about. And so for me, I can tell you what, I've grown up with male dogs my entire life. My grandfather, he bred German Shepherds. I had German Shepherds growing up. My father loves German Shepherds. So I've grown up with very alpha type dogs. I've never owned a female growing up. And all that changed when I got Kova. Kova is our female English Bull Mastiff. She's half English Mastiff, half Bull Mastiff. She's going to be 2 in about 4 or 5 months. She's 140 pounds. And I thought up until about a month before we got her, we knew the breeder. We knew where we were going to get the dog, and I had it pretty much set in my mind that we were going to get a male. And then after looking at all the facts, I'm very empirical, as you guys know from my channel. I'm very empirical and I'm very data driven. And after looking at everything and taking everything in stride that we're going to talk about today, I immediately did a 180 and went for the female, and I couldn't be happier. In fact, I'm so happy with our choice. I can tell you what, and my family is totally on board. We only want female mastiffs. I mean, I couldn't imagine not having female mastiffs. That's not to say that male mastiffs aren't great, because they absolutely are. But for what we do here and what we're wanting to do, the female mastiffs, I mean, like I said, I'm 100% on board. I could not be happier with our decision. I encourage you guys, go ahead. I'll put a link in the description box below to determining what kind of dog that you should get for the end of the world, shit hits the fan, whatever. I just call it everyday reality. But we live on a homestead. There was no doubt in our mind that we needed a large dog. We needed a Malajah breed, a Mastiff breed dog. There was no doubts in our mind. You know, we have elk and we have deer that run around here all the time. It takes a large predator to take down an elk, and we have those predators, right? We have bears in the area. We have wolves, coyotes, foxes, which aren't big predators, but for our chickens and stuff like that. So we have a lot of predators in the area, and so it's important that we have a very large dog that can handle themselves. And so knowing that we were already going to get a Mastiff, the next thing to do is figure out, and I encourage you guys, once you figure out what kind of breed of dog is best suited for your needs, you need to start looking at the temperaments, because there is a difference between male and female. Hashtag I don't care about your feelings. We all know this is the truth, right? There is a difference between male and female. So for Mastiffs, males tend to be larger. There's no doubt. They can be anywhere between 120 to 160 pounds, and that's just the standard. There's obviously bigger dogs than that, and males tend to be more aggressive. Males also, Mastiff, this is Mastiff specific, they tend to be more cuddly, so to speak, more affectionate, and they tend to be they're definitely aloof of strangers, but they don't tend to be as investigative as, for example, the female Mastiffs. So female Mastiffs are unique in the fact that they are a little bit smaller. They tend to be between 110 and 140 pounds. Obviously, Kova, she's not quite 2 yet. English Mastiffs can grow till they're 4 years old. Bull Mastiffs usually stop growing at 2 years old. She's obviously on the higher end already, and she's not even done growing yet. So that's unique in itself. But like I said, she's on that higher end. So female Mastiffs tend to be not as large. I still think 120, 140 pound dogs pretty large. They tend to be more independent. They tend to be more wary of strangers, more elusive of things that are out of place. And female Mastiffs also tend to be more territorial. They also tend to be more investigative. And so looking at those two, it's important to realize that territorial and aggressive are not necessarily the same thing. I can tell you that Kova is it's something's out of place. She wants to check it out. She's very investigative. I think that's just how women are. They're very curious and they're very investigative creatures. So she's very investigative. She's very territorial. There's no doubt about that. All Mastiffs are stubborn, but she's very independent and she can be very stubborn in her own way. And also something that's very unique too, that I started asking different people in the community, Mastiff community. Females tend to latch on to a certain person, right? They protect their family, they protect their, their area, but they definitely have their favorite person. And for me, in our homestead, in our family, I'm her favorite person. And I think a lot of that is just chalked up to the fact I spend the most time with her. I've done the bulk of her training, and she's always with me. An example of this is she always wants to be by my side. Example of this is if something goes thud in the night and I go out to investigate. If I don't take her with me, she's gonna cause a fit. She's gonna have a little fit, and she wants to be where I'm at. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but we do like the fact that, like I said, female Mastiffs tend to be very independent, which is a good trait to have, especially on a homestead. Tend to be more wary of strangers, more aloof, very investigative. Another good trait to have on a homestead. Female Mastiffs tend to be more territorial. Also a very good, trait to have. And also Mastiffs, like I said, they have their person. They tend to latch on and want to be around their person. Also not a bad trait to have, especially if you're talking about a end of the world type of scenario or just reality, right? So as far as, the need, we need a large dog. So the Mastiff variety is definitely the dog that we needed for our homestead. Temperament, the female temperament definitely falls in line with our goals and plans here. And also, from a preparedness standpoint, one of the most important reasons for why we got a Mastiff, breeding, the ability to reproduce, right? It is very important, and it's extremely important, that coming from a self-sufficiency model, that we are able to breed here on our homestead and be able to, have more dogs if need be. And so with a female, it gives you that ability. With a male dog, I have to go out and I have to find a female. And then I have to not only find a female, but I have to figure out how I'm going to convince this person to want to have a litter of puppies, this, that, and the other. So if there's not one available, right, I basically, long story short, if I only have a male dog and I don't have a female dog, I am at the behest of whatever is available locally. Especially if we're talking about a grid down situation. I may not be able to drive to the big city to even figure out where I can find these dogs, right? In a grid down situation, I may not be able to communicate, and it's not going to be like, I may not be in a position where I can just go online and see what dogs are available, right? So by having a female dog, I'm able to have litters of puppies. I'm able to help out the local community by providing puppies, and also I'm able to be choosy and figure out what it is that I want to breed her with, right? And I'm lucky we actually have a very large 220-pound English Mastiff that's a few miles down the road here that we are very good friends with, and that's who we plan to breed her with. Now, with that being said, let's say that's not a viable option. Just within my sphere of influence here, like you saw in the video, we have large livestock guardians. They have a male over there. It's about 120 pounds. That's a pretty big dog. He's large. That's a pretty big dog. 120-pound livestock guardian's a big dog. We have a large black lab right here. Other neighbor over here has a very, very large hunting dog. It's a black lab pointer mix. He's about 90 pounds. He's pretty big for a lab pointer. That's pretty huge. He's pretty blocky. So we have options, right? And so that's, for me, that's very good, and that's a very good position to be in, and that's very important. Like I said, we have the ability to feed our dogs. We have the ability to be self-sustaining. So if something happens and we need to, expand the size of our dogs, we can do that. We have that ability, and it puts me in the position to where I can control that narrative, right? Because I'm going to be taking care of her. So I know that she's getting the best treatment possible. I know she's being fed correctly. I know that those babies are going to be as healthy as they possibly be because I have a hand in it. I'm not beholden to somebody else's backyard breeding program or whatever. All that to say, there's some great breeders out there. There's no doubt about that. But for me, here in a grid down situation, I want to be able to be in control of, being able to produce more dogs as necessary. So for us and what we are planning here and for what we're wanting to do for a homestead, the Mastiff variety fits 100% in line with what we're trying to do. The female temperament is 100% in line with what we want. And then the ability to, breed and reproduce is super important. It's like anything else here. I like the fact that we have, animals that we can breed and then we're able to constantly provide a sustainable cycle for ourselves. So for me, that's how I came to that conclusion. For you, like I said, it's going to be really important for you to figure out what breed of dog you're trying to get that matches and fits with your unique situation, and then realize male and females are going to have different temperaments. So we're looking within those temperaments and figure out what it is that works best for your situation. And then also there's that X factor. With a female dog, you can produce more dogs. It allows you the ability to be able to control that. And for us here on the homestead, being so rustic, being so, being really rustic here in the woods, it's really important the fact that, I can have a dog that can reproduce, and it allows us to have that added layer of security and that added layer of comfort of knowing that we are going to be in control of that process. So that's what I have for you guys. Like I said, I didn't think that I was going to get a female dog. I've only grown up with male dogs, but after looking at all the science and looking at all the empirical data, and then realizing, and really coming to the understanding that, holy crap, in a grid down situation, I may not just be able to Google and figure out who has puppies for sale. Being able to take back and be sustainable and being able to have control of that situation, for me, means everything. So for us, female mastiffs all day long, that's what we're about here. So I hope you guys like the video. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below. Look forward to interacting with you guys and seeing what your guys' thoughts are. And as always, guys, long live the Republic.